Okay, everyone. Michael, go ahead. I'm going to let you take it from here and I'll hand you your ingredients. Just tell me what you need.
Okay, so what we've done is we've got a big pot. If you've got a stock pot, or if you have a Dutch oven, you want to use that. You want something that's big because it's going to be a lot of ingredients going in here. And so what we've got in here, Joanne cut up half of that white onion, and you want that just minced, and we put about 3 tablespoons of olive oil on the bottom. And I've got our heat down on 2. We are not wanting to brown the onions. We are wanting to sweat everything to get everything softened up. So you can see here we've got the 2 carrots and the 2 stalks of celery. We've got that cut up. We're going to go ahead and add that to our mixture here. And we're going to give that a good mix through, and then I'm going to put the lid on it. And we're going to cook this together for about 7 minutes so we can kind of steam the celery and the carrots down. We'll get everything coated with the olive oil, and then I'm going to put the lid on it and let this steam through. Like I say, we are not trying to brown everything. We're just wanting everything to get softened up. This is one of these dishes that if you're short on time, this takes about 45 minutes from the start to the end just to prepare this dish. So it comes together really quickly. The part of prepping the vegetables and things is what might take you a little bit longer. But we're going to just kind of sweat these vegetables down a little bit, and I'm going to put the lid on them and just let them sit there. And while we're doing that, we're going to get our dry ingredients of our spices.
What are your spices, Michael?
We've got some parsley that we're going to be putting in it, and we've got basil, and we've got thyme, and we've got oregano, and we've got salt and pepper.
Okay.
All right, so this part here, we're going to kind of set the clock for about 7 minutes and just kind of keep stirring on it for every couple of minutes, just to make sure that we're not getting anything stuck to the bottom and it's not cooking too quick. Like I say, we're just trying to steam everything down a little bit, and that oil that's in the bottom of the pan is going to help us do that.
All right, I'm going to be cleaning up over here while you're doing all that.
Where's your spices at, Joanne? And I'll get the parsley. That's the only thing I don't think I brought.
Let me look.
Oh, is this over here?
Yeah, it's probably right there.
Oh, here it is. I've got it. We've got that. That's the only thing I didn't have. I'm kind of watching the stove here. It's got a clock on it. And like I say, we're just coming through and just giving this a little quick stir every once in a while. Our onions look like they are translucent right now, so we're just kind of steaming the celery and the carrots down. I'm going to turn it up to about a 3 on our stove here, which is still really low.
Smells really good.
When the garlic gets put in, that's when it's really going to be fragrant, because we're going to bloom our spices when we put those in. So we're not going to have any fluid in there when we put our spices in. I guess I could go ahead and put those on a ramekin here, and we can go ahead. I can put our spices on a ramekin and kind of show you what we're going to be putting into those while that stuff is cooking. So I've got 1 teaspoon of dried parsley. I've got 1½ teaspoons of dried oregano, 1½ teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of dried basil, and 1/4 teaspoon of dried thyme. And we'll be putting that into our mixture here in just a minute. Let me check on our vegetables again and see how those are coming along. Those are looking really good.
Well, where are you going to go, Matt? For me to put it down there.
let's check on our veggies again.
Do what?
They're looking really good. I'm going to add my zucchini now in. So Joanne cut up one zucchini and cut those into quarters, and we'll put those in. That is a soft vegetable, and it's not going to take long at all for those to start wilting down. I want to give that a good little mix through.
Coco.
All right, let's check on our zucchini and see how that's doing. Let me grab a pot holder here so I won't get burned or towel. All right, that's doing good. So now let's add our spices in. So the first one we're going to be adding in is 1 teaspoon of parsley. And I've just got dried parsley here. Everything we're going to be adding in is going to be dried. That's 1 teaspoon of parsley. We've got 1½ teaspoons of dried oregano. And let me find my salt.
There's a box sitting right there, Michael. That salt
Oh,
box.
yep. We'll add 1½ teaspoons of salt. Half a teaspoon of black pepper. Half a teaspoon of basil.
How's it going, Michael?
It's looking good.
Let's see.
And a
Chicken
quarter-
stock.
Vegetable if you've got it, but if you don't, we'll use vegetable. All right, that is all of our seasonings that we'll be putting in that. And we're going to give that a little mix through. Give all of our spices a good mix through now. And now we're going to add in our minced garlic. This is 3 cloves of minced garlic that Joanne minced up here. You want to add that in last. Again, you don't want that to burn. Garlic has a tendency to burn, so we want to kind of add that in. We're getting ready to start adding our potatoes and our vegetable or chicken stock in. And if you want this to be a vegan dish, then you'll use the vegetable stock. And if you want it, if you're not trying to get it to a vegan option, then you can use a box of chicken or a box of beef stock. Either one works, whatever you like, or whatever you've got on hand. All right. Close that up and we'll get the stock and see what we've got on hand.
We have got some chicken broth.
Chicken broth works. All right. I always give these broths a little bit of a shake to make sure we get everything in there. Okay, now we've got potatoes, and we have I cut up 2 large potatoes and 1 kind of small medium potato, and we'll add those in at this time. And I've had these sitting in water. Once you peel a potato, if you don't put it in water, it oxidizes and it turns pink, and we don't want that to happen to our potatoes. So just keep them in some water and they will be fine. All right. And let's give all a good toss through and get all of those nice spices on our potatoes. And we'll let you see that. That's really pretty. This is a good base for our soup. All right, now we're going to add our chicken stock in. I might have to have a little bit more, so if we do, I'll put some water in this box and we'll use the rest of it with water. What we want to do to now is we want to make sure that the potatoes and all the vegetables get covered in either the broth or water. So let me go get some water. And that's a way to get some of the extra little goodies and bits out of the bottom of the box, is just a little bit of water in it. And there we go. All right, now we're going to continue cooking this. We want all these things to cook, and we'll cook these from the start to where we are now for about 20 minutes. And we'll come back and test them. We want our potatoes to be fork tender. So let's bring these back up to a boil. And then we will turn it down on low and let the potatoes and everything that's cooking, the spices all marinate together. And we'll be adding pasta to this too. At this time, you want to turn your pasta water on. I do not put my pasta in my soup until the very end, and the reason I do that is because if you've ever cooked with pasta before and you put it in your soups, it really absorbs a lot of the moisture from the soup, and I don't want that to happen. It sometimes will make your soup mushy because of as it breaks down. So the last 5 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and cook our pasta to the al dente. And I've got some elbow macaroni, and I'll show you what I've got here. I've just got the small elbow macaroni, and we'll be cooking that to al dente according to whatever the box instructions has. And we'll have that ready so that when the soup is almost ready to be done, we'll put our pasta in, and we'll be adding our beans and our spinach at the very end and just heating those through, and our soup will be done. So right now we're just waiting for the potatoes to cook through, and then we will get back to adding our other ingredients. So we'll show you in just a minute how that looks. I'm going to go ahead and grab my diced tomatoes, and I'm going to add them in at this time right now.
Boy, it's smelling good, Michael.
Yep. You got a can opener, Joanne? And
right there. That Hamilton beef.
Okay. Well, that comes in handy, don't it? So this is a Hunt's diced tomatoes. This is 14.5 ounces. And we're just going to take those. I think the lid just comes right off that. Look at that, how neat that is. If you don't have one of those can openers, that's something to look at too. And we're just going to put those into our mixture right now. And we'll bring that up to a boil also with our potatoes. Let me give that a good stir through. right, we'll wait for that to come to a boil and we'll turn it down. What is the old expression, Joanne? A watch pot never boils. Is that what they say?
Yeah.
So I guess I'm staring at it. It's not going to boil.
Do you want me to cut it off and I'll come back?
Yeah, you want to. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break from this. Like I said, bring this to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, turn it down to a simmer. And at 20-minute mark, we're going to come in and check fork tender for the potatoes and see how those are done. And my experience in the past is about 35 minutes is probably what it's going to be before the potatoes are done, and we'll be able to add our pasta and our beans and our spinach in there. So we're going to take a short break. We'll see you back at 20 minutes, and we'll check the potatoes for fork tender, and we'll go from there. All righty.
We'll be back.